wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this one, that one, damn, it's gonna be a long night.
Hello guys, what is up? It is me, the Prince of What Is, and I am back here with a new What If for all of you. What if Asta was Itachi's reincarnation, part 4, Anbu. Yes, I will be implementing the Anbu squad in this part, so get excited. Thank you a lot for the views on the UG series. I know that it's not exactly something normal, so not many of you have checked it out as much, but I appreciate the love nonetheless. Like 4K for my first time doing that, that's pretty good. So hopefully the next series, by then, like, you know, the second season probably will be coming around the corner, so y'all will probably watch it more, hopefully. And if anyone's afraid of spoilers, well, I'm sorry, but it's gonna come if I'm doing a whole series. So yeah, I don't have much else to say. Go check out Dark King. I will put him down in the description, or Discord as well. Subscribe, like. Let's go to 21K real quick so I can give you another special. And yeah, let's recap. In the last part, after gaining her Sea Dragon's Cradle, Noelle and Asta meet Kahono, and they get a bit close before she disappears, and the Black Bulls and Asta go down to the Sea Temple. When they arrive, they're led to the priest, who proposes a game before giving them the stone they want. The Bulls agree on the condition that they get food and wine as a reward, as well as the stone. So they split up into different places, fight different priests under the head, under the order of the head priest himself. Asta and Yami cannot participate because they're stronger. However, as they watch, Veto and Raya arrive. Yami cuts through a wall to leave after hearing from the priest that his magic can't just cancel the game, but a spectral barrier is around them, and a guy with one eye is trying to hold them back. But using his eye power, Asta knocks him out with a Genjutsu, and the barrier starts to crack and they head out. Asta arrives saving Magna from Veto, and as he healed Magna before putting Veto in a Genjutsu, he also reads his memories, gaining the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan because he saw all the despair that Veto had in his past life. And in that moment, Luck and Kyoto come over, and Asta would burn Veto with his new black flames, but Asta does not have a drawback. Then after that, Asta goes and helps Yami, who was fighting Raya, and they both defeat him with ease as Yami uses his dimensional slash for the first time. After this, they get to get the magic stone and have a party and leave to the kingdom. Back at the kingdom, when they arrive, Asta gathers Yami, Mars, and Julius, combining his magic with Mars's. He then shows Veto memories to the people and just kind of shocking them. Not all the people, just the 3, shocking them as they see elves. However, during this exposition, the Diamond Kingdom arrives, and Asta actually forms a Susanoo and wipes them all out, except for Mars and Lotus. This cements Asta's position as the Guardian, which is what the people have been deeming him as. The people don't know his true identity yet. After this, Asta tries to recruit Lotus and Mars to a squad he wanted to form, but Lotus declines for both himself and Mars, since he knows that Mars wouldn't want that. And Asta allows him to leave, and he and Mars will be taken back home by a clown, and at that moment, he gets a mission. By this point, nearing the Witch's Forest will be Asta, Noelle, and Magna, and Finro. As a mass, Asta would then think, maybe she'll change her mind. And we're gonna have a flashback. Hours back, Asta came to the Black Bull base and specifically asked for Vanessa to come with him to the Witch's Forest, and she would say, huh? Me? Well, you are a witch, Asta would say, and Noelle would say, wait, you're a witch? Magna says he isn't surprised in an insulting tone, making Vanessa call him a wannabe punk, but before they start to bicker, Asta said this was really urgent. I need a mediator of sorts. You came to the wrong person, kid, Vanessa would say, as Asta would say, I don't think so. You can't hide forever, you know. And as he says this, Vanessa looks at Asta, and she can tell that he must know of her origins. Hey kid, I don't know you, alright? You expect to come here, give a speech, and get me to just listen to your whims? I was simply hoping to not cause more trouble, Asta would say. Noelle at this moment then tells Vanessa to stop being mean, and she says that she will come with Asta. Finro says the same, as does Magna, and Noelle would say, you're the one who told me you're more assertive as a mage, why can't you just do the same for your life? End of the flashback, and we find Vanessa on the couch as she would sit there with those words ringing in her head. You don't know me? None of you do. Damn it. Back at the Witch's Forest, as the group nears it, soon they are met by a brigade of witches on brooms who tell them to stop. You weren't allowed in here. Who are you people? Asta then flies in front of everyone and says he is here to talk with the queen. I'm an envoy of the Clover Kingdom. The witches are skeptical, especially because Asta is a man, but then a voice would echo out, leave them be. A flock of crows would fly towards the group and the bulls get ready to attack when Asta would say it's fine. She's agreeing to meet us. The crows then surround them as they would then compress around them and soon turn to nothing, leaving nothing but magic in the air, and the bulls are gone, along with Asta. The queen's crows, the witches would say? So they were envoys? The group then appears in the queen's throne room, and the crows will disperse, letting them see their surroundings, and above them on a throne is the witch queen. She's strong, the bulls would think, as the very air around her and her gaze intimidates them. State your business, the queen would say, as Asta would think that she's hostile, but he tries to be calm. Well, to calm her down, he's not scared of her, and he would say, I'm here for the magic stone you possess. As he says this, he looks at her earring, which has the stone they're looking for, but the queen's gaze only grows stronger and more fierce as she asks what if she doesn't want to, and Asta says he will simply take it, and instantly the queen breaks out in a nervous sweat as the pressure on the bulls is relieved. To think that man still has someone like this. The guardian of the Clover Kingdom, the queen would think. At this moment, the very earth would quake, making the castle shake, and the queen would stand, saying that they're under attack, as she can sense it using her things that she put around the kingdom. And she would say, fine, show me your so-called power of the guardian, and I will give you the stone. Using me to protect yourself. How shrewd, Asta would say. He then turns to the bull, saying that he's gonna go see the diamond mages and hold them up. If worse comes to worse, I might have to do what I did before. Hopefully it won't come to that. Protect the witches. Asta then poofs to smoke, and we cut to the forest as the witch queen's golem will rise up against the army of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, and some witches will come backing it up. We're gonna protect the forest, you guys. Come on. They get ready for a counterattack, and this one, the leader of the Midnight, of this part of the Midnight, then tells his men to attack, and he would say, bring any strong ones to me. They'll make great slaves. Charging up attacks, the hooded men would then destroy the queen's golem, much to the shock of the witches, but as they near them, they would have their heads cut off as they light on fire and start to fall before the witches, and then Asta arrives, a masked man, the same masked man they had seen before, and they would say, it's him. He's helping us? The Midnight group then backs away in fear as they know who Asta is, they know of him, but as they go to leave, they all light on fire, bursting into black flames. Amaterasu, Asta would think. Their army then starts to drop dead as Asta would turn to the witches, saying that he will be taking care of the enemy, before then making a hand sign as puffs of smoke erupt beside him, and out jump out multiple clones who fly past the group of witches and go for the Diamond Mages and Diamond Kingdom. And now that they actually sense the Eye of the Midnight Sun approaching, they're going for them as well. And the witches are amazed by the huge compact amount of magic that he's using, and he would say, your assistance will no longer be needed. He then body flickers away, leaving the witches impressed, but they will not admit it since Asta is still a man, and they have something against men. Fauna's squad then comes to the forest and start to attack, while Fauna readies a massive attack above. I can already sense it, Fauna would think. I have to hurry. However, as she says this, she would feel a huge heat wave and look down to see that down below her subordinates are lighting on fire one by one. Her salamander that she had formed then starts to lose form until it completely vanishes, confusing her, but she can still fly, but she lost her best advantage. Why? Why is the mana listening to him more than me? Her giant fireball that she had been building up starts to get smaller, and a clone of Asta then flies up in front of her. She doesn't know if it's the real Asta or a clone, and she gives up on building up the fireball and just throws it at Asta, but as it reaches him, he holds his hand out, canceling it out, before then affecting it with his black flames and corroding it, and now he makes the flames his own. Those flames can even corrode others? It's like he's a devil, Fauna would say. The clone then dissipates the flames and asks why the elves are doing this, surprising her as she asks how he found out about them. I have the power to read memories. It must be those eyes, Fauna would think, but why is he telling me this? Their small talk is then interrupted by a blast of fire that is shot between them, and they look to the left to see Mars and Kruger running from Ladros, and this is when Mars and Fauna would lock eyes, and for a moment, it was as if time froze for the two. Fauna? Mars would think, and this is when Fauna would wondering why she feels like she knows this human. Ladros would by this point be overly powered because he managed to touch one of Asta's clones, just one, and that alone gave him enough power to match the same that he got in the original. Appearing in front of Mars and Kruger, he then releases a massive wave of flames at them, and Fauna instinctively reacts with a scream. No! The attack then hits and causes an explosion, but as the flames clear, a hand then goes for Ladros from the dust cloud and grabs him by the face as the real Asta is revealed, having blocked the attack. As Ladros tries to pry his hand off, Asta's hand only tightens, first cracking a part of his skull. Let me go, you bastard, he would yell as he then lights his hand on fire, swinging at Asta, only for Asta to deflect the hand to another direction, making his attack crash into a forest. And Ladros just keeps trying and flinging around as if he were a child, but it does not work. Even his absorbing magic does not work on Asta. This is the guy you were talking about, Kruger would ask, and this is when Mars nods. Why are you helping me? Because I think you deserve it, Asta would say. Can you say the same for him? Soon Ladros is so out of power that he simply hangs in Asta's hand, and Asta would pull back his arm to attack when Mars would grab it, saying, please, let him live. See, Asta would say. He then lowers his hand, saying this is why you chose not to kill Mars. You can still have empathy. Take him. He then throws Ladros to Kruger, who sees that he is out cold, and Mars would thank him just as Fauna flies and hugs Mara is no longer having her dark aura, but only having her tears flowing out of her eyes. Sensei, Morris, I missed you guys so much, she would say, as Kruger was surprised to see Fauna because she just disappeared, and Asta would say, so, she regained her senses. Are you two dating? Morris and Fauna then blush, and Asta would laugh saying he's just joking around, and he lands down with the others doing the same. This is when the Black Bulls actually run over with Vanessa, which kind of surprises Asta. You came? Vanessa then nods, saying that it's nothing much, and Noelle would say that she just doesn't want to apologize because she's embarrassed, and this makes Vanessa blush. You didn't deserve that, Vanessa would say. Sorry, I was kind of drunk if you didn't notice. Then maybe you could do without the alcohol, Asta would answer, and Vanessa then becomes serious, saying never. Okay, it was just a suggestion. So, you returned. Everyone then feels a malicious energy and turns to face the queen, who Vanessa then turns to, saying that she came here to help her friends, not to stay. You think you would be welcome back? I didn't come here for you, the queen would say. A crow then comes out of her grimoire and flies to Asta, who holds his hand out, and the crow would then drop a magic stone in his hand. What is this? Asta would ask. What do you mean? The queen would state, and she quickly becomes nervous just as her claw, instead of dissipating, sits on Asta's shoulder, showing an internal Mangekyo Sharingan. How did you... Before she can even say another word, everything goes red and she's standing on water below a blood-red moon, and the only ones left around are her and Asta. You're more than just a rotten person. You're a horrible mother, Asta would say. But just because your daughter didn't turn out like you, I'll let you live. Don't ever bother her again, or you risk your life in the process. The Genjutsu then cuts out and she sees everyone is gone, and it's quiet as she's then startled by the call of her own crow, and she turns, seeing the one that Asta controlled and put under his control be on her shoulder, back into its subservience to her. An absolute monster. That's who I've crossed paths with, the queen would think. Meanwhile, the group had split up already and left, and Asta got the stone, obviously. There was magic put on it, but Asta didn't say anything aloud, instead just putting her in a genjutsu to warn her while they left. I'm really sorry though, Vanessa would say. I know you were just doing your job. I've heard worse, Asta would say. But if you really want to make it up to me, there is one thing you can do. What? Vanessa would ask, and Asta says, join my squad? You're a Magic Knight captain, Magna would say. Oh, actually, it makes sense that you are. It would be kind of ridiculous if you weren't. I'm at that level, but my situation is different, Asta would say. But I'm guessing your answer will be no, though, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, Vanessa would say. I miss everyone. Also, you sound like a really strict boss. This makes Asta laugh, and the others do as well, and now we fade to black. As night falls, the Star Festival, I don't know what's this called that, but tell me down below. The Star Festival begins as the streets then get filled with lights, people, food, and laughter. Everyone is enjoying themselves, and Asta is in a different attire, talking to Yuno and Noelle, just as this is when Kahono and her brother run up, asking what's up, and Noelle would say, Kahono? What are you doing here? Kahono then hugs Noelle, saying that the priest let them stay here on the surface because they kept pestering him so much. And this is when Asta sees his chance, as he would then grab onto Kahono and Kyoto. You two, will you join my squad? Wait, squad? Kyoto would say. You mean like become magic knights? Asta then nods with a nervous sweat, and Kahono would notice it. I think you should agree. He might cry if you don't, Yuno would say. He's been trying really hard. Don't make me sound so desperate, Asta would yell. And this way Kyoto would say, I would love to join, sir. And as he says this, he slightly looks to Noelle. Asta is happy to hear this, and Kahono then says that she will as well. That my popularity will grow and I can finally become an idol. Asta, realizing what her goal is, then says, about that. But he's then interrupted by cheers when Julius then walks out on stage, and so everyone focuses on him, so he has to stop. Julius will then say, thank you for coming, everyone. A lot has happened recently, but because of our amazing nights, we've held on. Today I'd like to show their achievements, so let's welcome them on stage. The Magic Knight captains then walk out together, gaining cheers and admiration, just as Julius then looks and finds Asta, who realizes that Julius can't see him, and he also notices that he is gesturing him to come up. Oh right, Asta would say. He then disappears and appears beside Julius in a flash of fire without his mask, surprising the crowd. Wait, that's speed and fire magic. Is that the Guardian? The crowd would go crazy over his appearance, almost diminishing the presence of the captains, and this is when Julius would say, yes, he's much younger than anticipated, isn't he? Asta with a smile would then wave to everyone, making the girls go crazy and swoon in his presence, and in the crowd, he even sees Rebecca, who he specifically waves to. Oh, he saw me, Vanessa would say as she would wave back, but some girls would say, oh my god, he waved to me. Obviously, Vanessa knows that Asta is looking at her, but she ignores it because there's no need to be petty like that. And this is when Julius says that he has someone else to introduce, and he tells Yuno to come up, and at this demand, he then flies out of the crowd and lands on stage, getting cheers as well, especially since he has a spirit at his side. Julius would then say, Yuno is the newcomer of the Golden Dawn. He's been helping them advance even faster. I figured it'd be even more important for him to be here since he's a commoner. Instantly, the crowd falls into silence and disbelief as Julius would then say Asta is also a commoner. Are you being serious? He's got to be from some noble family, right? And Asta would say, I'm an orphan. And he says so with a tone of annoyance because he's really annoyed at these people, obviously. Instantly, the crowd would shut up as Yuno would then say, we grew up together. I can assure you, we don't have noble blood. Then it can't be true, right? Maybe that guy's an imposter or something. Yeah, he does seem a little different, right? Without the mask on. Obviously, he looks different without the mask on. They're idiots. But they try to make excuses to deny the two their right to their achievements. And Yuno pops a vein, almost exploding with anger as he thinks, my brother's been protecting you bastards. And you can't even believe it just because he's a commoner. Hey, that's not true. Asta is the guardian, Rebecca would yell. And kids from the orphanage would say the same, saying that the adults are just being ridiculous. Just as Asta would then smile, saying, I guess I must show some proof. Instantly, he explodes with a huge amount of mana, which pushes everyone back, and from behind him forms the upper torso of the Susanoo. And the stare and very presence of this creature strikes fear into everyone, as Asta would then open his Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, which surprises everyone, especially because that's kind of like a feature they never seen before. Is that enough? Asta would ask. What the hell? Merliona would say. Why haven't you brought this kid over? As he says this to Frigolion. Frigolion would then say that he wouldn't join a squad anyway. Why would he join a squad when he can form his own? And even after seeing it before, honestly, that thing still freaks me out. The Susanoo then subsides, and the crowd cheers for Asta, as well as Yuno, having realized that they were both kind of amazing, and they were being dumb, because even if they don't want to admit it, it's happening. They're commoners, and even though some people can admit it, some nobles are unable to accept this, that a commoner can have such a high position. But their words don't mean much against the majority. Those stupid humans, Belle would say. Tell me about it, Yuno would say. But hey, Asta. Yeah, Asta would say. You finally made it, right? Definitely. He would then say, now for the rankings. Marx then walks out using his magic to show the rankings, and to the surprise of everyone, the Black Bulls were now ranked 3 out of the entire group of knights, and the bull themselves are kind of shocked, not knowing how to react. Huh? 3rd place? I guess I own one, Yami would say. I mean, if the Guardian can be a commoner and be this strong, it's not that weird, right? People will be saying, and the crowd comes to a conclusion that it's not really that surprising, but also they assume Asta helped them, which doesn't mean that they don't acknowledge their accomplishments, but they're just saying so, and it is true that he did help them. Nobles such as Nebula and Solid can't accept the fact that the Bulls are even close to them in rankings, but they have nothing else to say because they gotta shut up. They don't matter. It doesn't matter. Julius would then say, okay, now that this has passed, let's meet the one you've all been waiting for, the king of the Clover Kingdom. Yuno would then say, what? I thought Julius was the king. Did you know about this? He then looks to Asta, who nods, just as the king would walk out with a smug smile, raising his staff into the air. That's right. Hail your king, he would think. However, as he steps out, his presence barely is recognized, which pisses him off as he yells, Hail me! His voice then rises in anger as he says that he should show him more respect. I'm above this magic emperor boy, you know? Yeah, I want the Wizard King to be the king. And why can't he just be king? People will be saying. And the king only gets more frustrated, but Julius calms him down. And despite being envious of Julius, he does relax and introduce himself properly. And then he says, we have discovered the hideout of our enemies. This comes to a surprise of the people, as the king will then say that they will attack them in due time. And instead of just laying back, they're going to be the first to strike this time. So they're going to take them by surprise. And he made a new order that he's forming called the Royal Magic Knights. 1 week from now, an examination will be held to decide those who will belong in this elite squad. The crowd would then cheer for the Royal Knights and saying that this is going to be great. And the king feels more confident as Julius would then step up saying, we have already designated the leader of this group. It will be our very own Asta or Guardian, whatever you want to say. Asta is surprised, saying, wait, what? However, the crowd would then cheer even more than they did for the king, and Asta would be surprised, and the king would look at him with spite, and the captains get hyped up, especially Merliona. Maybe I'll get to fight him somehow, Merlion would say. I will not falter like before, Nozel would say. Asta would then say, well, I guess it's not that bad. After all of this, Asta is introduced fully, of course, and yeah, that's it. The king is also introduced, not that anyone cares, and then he leaves backstage with Yuno, and Julius would escort them there, and he would then say, sorry about springing that up on you. No, it would have been better if you sent me alone. That's why I'm surprised, Asta would say. Yuno would then say, hell no, I'm not getting left behind this time. Yeah, Belle would yell, and this is when Asta says, okay, but you better pass the examination. Yuno, of course, says, of course he's going to pass, and Julius would say, good, I'll take my leave. You can go back to the party. You'll work you too. He then disappears, and they start leaving to head back to the streets, and Asta says that he is excited to finally be starting his own squad, This, however, is when their ears are pierced by a scream from Mereoleona as they end up finding her lecturing the Crimson Squad and Fuegoleon at her side. What kind of pathetic display have you idiots been putting up all this time? Sorry, sir, Leopold would say, and Mereoleona would then look to Fuegoleon saying, you're to blame as well. And then this is when Fuegoleon says that they have been working on cases and intricate stuff instead of just fighting. Stars do not reflect how much work my men have put in, and I will not allow you to insult them. Oh really, Mereoleona would say. The magic of the two would then rise, as does their bloodlust, and it seemed that the siblings were about to get into a fight when an even more powerful, almost creepy presence enters the fray, with everyone's eyes trailing off to see Yuno with Asta. Just him being here made them stop, Leopold would say, as he's amazed, and Mereoleona would then say, hey boy. Asta and Yuno then stop as they look back, both saying, which one? Guardian, Mereoleona would say. I wanted to ask for a little help to train these maggots. Asta would then say, oh actually I'm quite... Never mind, I have an idea. I will join you, but my methods are gonna be harsh, Asta would say with a smile, and a chill runs down the spines of everyone, but they are prepared for the fight. Cut to a few hours later, however, the Crimson Knights, Noelle, Magna, Yami, Charlotte, Sol, Yuno, Kahono, and Kiyato end up staring down a giant volcano, and they would say, what the hell is this? As they were like sweating profusely and they were barely able to even breathe. And Asta would then walk up in front of everyone as he then claps his hands together, getting their attention. Alright, first things first. You will be climbing this volcano. Kiyato would then say, wait, seriously? You're not joking? Asta then nods. He then said to give him a moment, and he walks closer to the volcano, while Mereoleona would then begin to speak. I don't know what that kid has in mind, but it should be pretty intense, so get ready. Her words are then cut short by the rumbling of the area, making everyone panic, but then they look forward to see Asta using earth magic, much to their shock. What? Sol would say he can use earth magic too? Everyone is left baffled by this, and as he crouches on the ground, Asta would cause a path to just form as stairs would be created all the way to the top of the volcano, and red markings would fill it. What are those inscriptions? Asta Fuegoleon would ask, and this is when Asta stands and he turns saying, the rune, something popular in the Heart Kingdom. Now let's Mereoleona have her interest him, saying that she wants to know how he can use earth magic, and she was like ready to go, like down for it. And this is when people be saying, yeah, you're known for fire magic and stuff like that, but Yuno would say, oh, he didn't tell you? Everyone then looks to Yuno, who says, Asta can copy magic. This completely catches them off guard, and Asta would scratch his head nervously, asking how Yuno found out. I never really told you, honestly. I noticed it. Yuno would say, you can copy magic you've seen before, right? That's why your eyes are like that. Asta then nods, saying, it's truly not that big of a deal, but my first attribute is fire. My second is copy, and the other is illusion, Yami would say. Asta then nods, and they realize that in total he has 3 magical attributes naturally. I would appreciate if we could keep quiet about this, Asta would say with a smile, and Mereoleona would then say, depends, is there anything special about those stairs? Asta makes way, telling her to try step on one, and she would walk forward, and as Mereoleona's leg hovers over the first case, she is pulled down as she crashes into the ground, with her skin getting burnt, leaving everyone shocked, and they see Mereoleona stagger up, trying to get up as if she was being pulled down by some invisible force. You're pretty ruthless, huh? Mereoleona would say, and she forcefully takes another step, causing her to almost fall again, when Asta would then say she shouldn't do it like that, and with the easy steps, he goes past her and above her instantly. Yep, we became part of a weird squad, Kahono would say, but Kiyato says that he's just happy they joined, because this is kind of like fun. Asta would then say, it's all about regulating mana. These steps give off the illusion of gravity, since the amount of mana they're pulling from you is so much. It's not being stolen or anything, but it is being pulled down from you. There is actual illusion magic added, and I'll meet you at the top. You get what I'm trying to say, right? He then walks ahead as Mereoleona would then yell, why the hell are you standing there? Let's go. She then takes another step, but this time it's not pulled down as she starts to concentrate and circulate her mana better, and this inspired the kids to go on as well, but this is intense. All the captains get used to it a bit faster. They find it hard to take another step, and another, and another. Yuno can't even summon Bell because he can't retain his power, but he pushes on, because him using Bell is not what the point of this exercise is. If you told anyone this was induced by illusion magic, they think you'd be a liar, Charlotte would think. And this is when Leopold yells, riding up his team, saying, come on guys, it's all about mindset, right? We're not going to lose to some stairs, are we? Hell no, they would say, and Leopold would say, then push on. Currently, the one who is ahead by far, aside from Asta, is Mereoleona. Yami and Fuegoleon are tied up, with Charlotte being, Charlotte is right behind them actually. Fuegoleon and Yami are tied up. Sol is walking slightly in front of the Crimson Knights, and Yuno is ahead of her, and the Black Bulls are marching with the Crimson Knights, while Kiyato and Kahono march right behind Yuno. You good? Kiyato would ask Kahono, but she says that she'll survive. But it's so hot. We're not even near the top yet, she would say. Asta then yells from above, saying, oh, by the way, there are levels to this. You get heavier as you go. The final level will put you in a final test of sorts. It's going to be different. Be ready. How can it get much worse than this, Merlion would say. Merlion is not just trying to like force this, so it is very hard for her. She does not usually focus in this way. She usually just yells and just uses everything with pure strength and power, but she actually has to stay calm or she might hurt herself. So this is an actual challenge for her. It's just that she's not willing to show it because she's that strong, badass type. So the training goes on for hours on end until eventually most people try to almost make it to the top, but barely. And the captains don't pass out like everyone else does. They actually pass out from like the intense pain. And at the top, as they all simultaneously step on a new level together, their vision would warp as their eyes would go blank. Everything then goes black for Yami, and when he comes to, he's in a familiar forest. How the hell does he know about sakuras? Yami would say, as he then stands in a field filled with sakura trees, when a strong wind would then start to blow through the air, and the sakuras are blown away, forming in front of Yami another him, surprising the captain, who then takes out a sword. So this is the final boss, huh? I like it. For the other captains, the same things happen as they have to face themselves, and until they won, they weren't able to like really get out. They didn't pass the test, but none of them won anyway, and now we're going to fade to black. The first of the knocked out mages to wake up is Yuno, as he would then sit up with heavy breath, and he looks around seeing the others laid out. The top, Yuno would say. Good, you're the first. Yuno then turns to see Asta near a hot spring, as he then waves to him, and Yuno tries to get up, but he winces in pain. I thought it was all mental, Yuno would say. I was lying, Asta would say. It kept your mind off of it. Just stay there. I'll heal you up in a second. I'm getting the hot spring ready. There's a hot spring here? Yuno would ask, and Asta would say, yep. Oh, natural. You should have just led with that, Yuno would say. So, how did I do? Horrible, Asta would say, and Yuno says, thanks for being honest. Well, we are rivals, right? Yeah. I'll give you a bit of advice, though. Don't force it. Mono listens to those who can be assertive. Even spirits, as humanoid as they appear, are just spirits, and they do not listen to weak masters. I don't think Belle chose wrong, do you? No, she didn't, Yuno would say, and Asta says, good. Later on, everyone then soon wakes up and go into the prepared springs, feeling amazing, like just amazingly good, especially after everything they went through. And as they rest in the water, Kyoto would ask, how can I get as strong as you, Captain? Hearing himself being called Captain makes Asta happy, as he would then smile, saying, training, and lots of it, but that's what I'm here for, so just leave everything to me. With a confident smile, as he says this, Kyoto wants to try even more, because Asta just gives off that impression like he is that strong nigga you want to be with. By the way, there is always someone who always asks, why are you saying nigga? Dude, I am black. Get off my case, okay? Just stop. Why would I say the N-word if I wasn't black? Alright, I'm gonna stop. That's actually, let's not get off topic. You could probably skip this part. I'll put that in the chapter story thing. Anyway, Kyoto, he wants to do his best, and this is when Fuluna would ask how it's possible that Asta even learned about runes to begin with, and he would say, oh, they're not actual runes, mine are original, they're called seals, I just made them for fun, just for this occasion. Everyone is left dumbfounded, as Asta would then ask what's wrong, and they say it's nothing, just being completely baffled. On the other side, the girls are relaxing as well, and Noelle leans onto Merliona for help, and she learns about her mother from her. And Merliona would then say, but unlike your mother, you don't have the experience yet. Well, I'm gonna get some, Noelle would say. I felt my magic control increase really fast. Look. She then holds her hands up, and without the assistance of a wand or her grimoire, she not only forms water but shapes it in the form of a little fish flying about, just amazing the girls. And Sol would say, oh, big sis, she improved a lot. Call me Captain, Sol, Charlotte would say. And Sol would say, sorry, big sis. Charlotte would just give up on trying to tell her about this, and she would then say, if there's one thing that's certain, we've reached a new level, all of us, just from this exercise alone. I've never been put under such intense pressure. I almost thought my soul was being ripped out or something, Sol would say with a laugh. And this one, Merliona then reflects on this as well, hypothesizing that even with her full power, Asta would defeat her. And being able to use black flames to such a degree, along with what he calls his genjutsu and copy magic. Where the hell did this brat come from, she would think. After all this training, the test for the Royal Knights soon come up, but while this came up, Asta invited Kyoto, Kahono, and Zora to his place, which he made himself. Far off near the mountains, we then find the base of the Anbu squad, and it is kind of looking very traditional, being the same size as the Black Bull's base, and it looks very Japanese. And Asta, during their tour, soon comes to the training room, and as he slides the doors open, Kahono, Kyoto then run in, excited to see the place covered with the same seals that Asta used at the training. And this when Kahona would say, wow, you put the same thing on the stairs, right? Zoro then walks in with a look of annoyance. Why the hell did this guy call me here? He would think. And this is when Asta says, this room needs to be activated by me. Soon you'll be able to do it too, though. He then touches the wall, causing the seals to shine, and they release light that forms to another Asta before everyone. Kiyato then encircles the clone, amazed, going to touch it. Before he can even actually reach and touch it, it disappears, and he has a sword at his throat, shocking them all as the clone was behind him. I didn't even see it move. What is that thing? Zoro would ask, and Asta then claps, as the clone would then disappear, saying, sorry about that. This groom creates, in a better sense, a stronger version of yourself, or what you think is a stronger version of yourself, and uses illusion magic to make it come to life. It also has a bit of creation magic in there. And this is when Zoro would say, why the hell are you showing us this stuff? Attention then turns to Zoro as he stares at Kiyato and Kahona with anger, because he's like, why the hell are you looking at me? And they turn away nervously. And this is when Asta would ask for them to go to their rooms, the two to go to their rooms, and he showed them where their rooms were. So they leave, and Asta would say, why wouldn't I show you this? How naive are you, Zoro would say, and Asta would say, I'm not. Far from it. I'm guessing you don't want to join then. Zoro then takes a deep breath and walks past Asta. I don't know why the hell you want somebody like me, why the hell you want nobody commoners with you, but if you were a noble, I'd be more suspicious. I'm gonna stay. Asta is happy to hear this, but Zoro would then say he wants certain privileges. I want to do whatever the hell I want. Asta would then say that's not a special privilege, that's the whole point of our squad. Of course you can't attack the king or something like that, but nobles will be held accountable by us, as long as you have evidence of sorts. That is what the Anbu squad is. Zoro would then grow a giant smirk and say, you're a crafty one, ain't ya? And Asta would say, welcome to the squad. So, back at the Royal Knights exam, Noelle, with her huge increase in power, reveals her Valkyrie armor, and Yuno shows the spirit dive, which he can now already control with ease, and he has Mana Zone as well. Magna also gets way stronger, and all the Crimson Knights do, especially Leopold, and Finral gets his own growth in magic, and he can now use the teleporting pitch, and given how strong Langris is, and he manages to give him a little trouble, that shows how far he's come. So when the fight broke out, things did go a bit differently. I'll cover it later, probably in the next part, but not right now, but I'm just going to tell you, it was dope, and they improved a lot. So then soon, the day of the attack on the Eye of the Midnight Sun comes, and all the Magic Knights gather at the castle later, and they enter in line, and they get the Royal Knight uniforms, and as they do, Noelle is in line, and soon enters to find Kiyato and Kahono handing out everyone their robes, and Kahono would then wave to her as Noelle does the same, and this is when Noelle notices the difference in her power. She's an Asta squad, so she must have gotten some just intense training. She feels proud of her friend as Kahono has clearly grown, and she also says hi to Kiyato, who waves back while blushing. Soon everyone is suited up, and out walk Nozel, Fuegoleon, Merliona, and Asta. He changed again, Yuno would say with this nervous smile, and Asta with a smile then says that if they just release a bit of magic, they will notice that their garments are enhanced by magic, and as Luck tries releasing some, a bunch of light would shine off of him, and he would say, wow, I feel so fortified. Asta would then say they're enhanced with a barrier and substitution spell, so if you were to gain a wound too fatal, you will be teleported to my base, the base of the Anbu Magic Knights. Hearing this, they would all be impressed as they realize there is no way they can lose, but it is also really amazing that Asta has his own squad. It's just impressive, and as they turn to see Kiyato and Kahono at his side, they're even more impressed. They must be very powerful if he took them in, right? And we have all the captains present. There's no way we can lose this. Merlin will then say, officially, I deem you maggots the Royal Magic Knights. As she says this, the king then tries to come out and say something, only for Merlion and Asta to then yell for everyone to move out. But then Asta would say, oh wait, actually? Merlion would then trip forward, annoyed as she asks what could be so important, when Asta then says he's still waiting for his last member. Sorry, Captain, I got caught up. Everyone looks to see as Zora falls from the sky and he lands down and stands straight wearing the Anbu Magic Knight uniform. He looks scary. That is all that ran through everyone's head. This dude just looks like he about to kill you. And Merlion would then say, take care of your subordinates better. My apologies, Asta would say. Okay, now we move out. That brings us to the end of this video. Welcome to the end of the video, guys. I hope you really enjoyed. I tried my best to not make this boring. I'm joking. I know this is amazing, right? It's amazing. It's amazing. I might be hyping myself a little bit, but I do think this part is really good. I tried to bring in stuff that I knew you guys were waiting for, like how Asta was going to use his magic differently and do special things, how his squad was going to be, who was going to be composed of, and interactions between characters, you know, things like that. So I'm happy that I finally got this done. Tell me down below what you think I could do better. A little bit of criticism wouldn't help. Hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Comment a bunch. Just have fun down there. You can have a little discussion if you want. And yeah, just have fun. And I really hope you enjoyed this. Alright, I'm gonna leave. And the next video is what if Deku had Mechamaru's powers. I'll see y'all then. Peace.